Hi guys, welcome back to DSS online classes. In the previous class we discussed problems on purlins. Now let us come to problems on roof trusses. So in this lecture number 5, we are going to discuss a problem on roof trusses, design of roof truss. Coming to problem, see, already I explained you type of problems we may get from the trusses. Two types of problems. One is find the member forces of roof truss. 90% weightage for this problem. Second type of problem is design of roof truss member. Design of roof truss member is nothing but he should give all these loads. That means member loads he has to mention. After knowing these loads, then based on the tension members and compression members criteria, that is unit number. So coming to our units, compression, tension members and compression members, second unit. The same procedure how we followed in the second unit, the same procedure we have to follow here for the design of roof truss, second type of problem. For that reason, coming to based on previous experience, we are getting only these type of questions right now. That's why I am requesting you, please concentrate more on type 1 problem, because already we know that how to solve compression members and tension members from second unit. This is wrong, third and fourth as per JNT syllabus. So for that reason, now I am going to explain about a problem. That's why just see here, determine load for a panel point. That is a problem we are going to discuss. Now before discussing the problem, just see here, load analysis. Just see here how loads will be there. Main loads on trusses are, one is a dead load, second one is imposed load, third one is wind load. Most probably is expecting determine dead load or determine imposed load, determine wind load, like that different problems we are getting. Now in this problem I am going to explain all these three types of loads, how to calculate these three types of loads. But actually this question is determine dead load only, but after completing dead load calculation I am explaining imposed load and wind load also, because this one video is enough for three types of questions. That is my intention. Now coming to dead load, what are the loads we should consider? Dead load is nothing but GI sheet, galvanized iron sheet, range is there, asbestos sheet, cement sheet, 170 to 200 Newton per meter square. So these are the ranges. And also here you should observe, this is self weight of the roof truss, 10 into L by 3 plus 5 into S by 4 spacing of truss. So after knowing all these, you should remember all these ranges, because these values are available in IS 875 part 1. Dead load is nothing but IS 875 part 1. For your external exams, IS 875 part 1 is not allowed. For that reason you should remember all these, not only for external exam, for competitive exams also you should remember these ranges, then only you can solve the problem. And coming to imposed load, same, you should remember this. And coming to wind loads, basic wind pressure, this is the formula. Pz is equal to 0.6 into Vz square. Again Vz is equal to K1 into K2 into K3 into Vb. Now K1 is nothing but risk coefficient. This risk coefficient is available in IS 875 part 3 table number 4. So again this also not the IS 875 is not allowed. For that reason you should remember, I will explain what are the values you should remember. And K2 is nothing but coefficient depends on terrain based on the height and structure size factor from table number 5 IS 875. Again K2 value you should choose. Now coming to K3 topographic factor, that is equal here, topographic factor we will take. Vb is nothing but basic wind speed. Again this one also based on zones we will consider. Generally this value in between 33 to 55 meter per second. These are the important points. Again we should recollect. Now after calculating the loads, these loads we should show like this, because at the node point only these are the loads acting. Now our problem is analyze roof truss and the member forces. Let us come to problem. What he is expecting, his requirement is determine dead load for panel point for roof truss of a work shed constructed at Ahmedabad for following requirements. What is the given data? Given data is span of truss he has given 15 meters, spacing of truss 4 meter center to center, rise of truss 3 meters, height of truss above ground level 20 meters, asbestos sheet at 150 Newton per meter square are used as roof covering, asbestos sheet. Next, sixth one is assumed weight of purlin 120 Newton per meter square per plan area. This is important. Now next data is total number of panels, 8 number of panels he has given. This is the limit. Opening of wall area. Next one is probable lifespan of roof truss 25 years. This is important. 10th one is class A structure, terrain cartage, 3 numbers. These 2 details for to calculate wind load. 11th point is topography, that is equal plain horizontal ground and wind slope less than 3 degrees. See, this is the common data for any type of roof truss design. Now after knowing all these details, this is the requirements, actually you can call it as the requirements. Based on these details we can find what are the types of loads acting on that particular member, that means on the truss. So that means what, just to see here, so this is a load acting over here. That means what, if you want to design this member cross section and also all these details, length has decided. After that this size we have to decide, and also cross section we will choose. How we solve in compression member, the same way we can solve here, whether it is compression member or tensile member. Based on that type of truss we will choose. Now for how truss, this is the compression member and this is the tension member. So based on that, whether it is compression member or tension member, based on that we will design as per tension members and compression member design procedure. So before designing these members, we should know how much load is acting from here. So after knowing how much load is acting from here, then easily you can design this. So very simple. So now coming to, so right now our target is determine loads. Just to see here, before calculating loads. First of all, you should have rough idea about your truss based on data. He has given a truss with 8 number of panels, and the span of the truss is 15 meters. That's why I drawn like this. Span of truss is 15 meters. 8 panels means this is panel number 1, 2, 3, 4. Again 1, 2, 3, 4. Total 8 number of panels are there. And loads, coming to loads at the nodal point. This is the full panel point. Full panel point 1, 2, 3 left side, 1, 2, 3 right side, and this is end panel point, and here also 2 end panel points, and this is also end panel point. Now before entering into the dead load calculation, we should have minimum details which he has not given. Those details we have to find based on the given data. Now coming to this calculation is nothing but we can call it as a preliminary calculation. Coming to preliminary calculation, first requirement is slope. We don't know about what is the slope, how much slope we have to arrange. After knowing the slope over here, then easily you can provide top chord. After providing top chord and bottom chord, then you can find this length easily, this height. That is my intention, because slope is known. After knowing slope, we can find opposite direction height. After knowing height, then design criteria is very easy. After knowing the length of the column, easily we can go for design process. That is the point. Now what is the first requirement? Angle. So how to calculate angle of truss is equal to, angle of truss is nothing but tan theta, that is pitch. Tan theta equal to, this is rise 3 meters, half of the distance, that is 7.5. Then theta equal to 21.8 degrees, that is angle of the slope from here to here. This is how much? 21.8 degrees. Now coming to second point, length of the principal rafter. Length of the principal rafter is very, very important. Why? Because we know the span of the truss, but we don't know this length. So that reason, rise we know that, and from here to here this is 7.5. Then principal rafter length is, from the Pythagoras theorem, this I am taking it as a length. L is equal to under root of 3 square plus 7.5 square. Finally, length of the principal rafter equal to 8.07 meters. Now third requirement is off plan area. Off plan area, that means already he has given center to center distance between two trusses 4 meters. Off span is 7.5. Then off plan area equal to 7.5 into 4, that is 30 meters square. Next one is half slope area. Half plan area is different, half slope area is different. Half slope area means this is the slope. Along this slope we should consider. Then width will be, instead of 7.5, width will be 8.07. Then 8.07 into, this is common, center to center distance between truss, that is 4 meters. Therefore half slope area equal to 32.28 meter square. Now after calculating preliminary, after finishing preliminary calculation, now let us see how to calculate dead load. Coming to dead load calculation, instead of going like this, just see here, total dead load is equal to what? Total dead load is equal to what? What is mean by total dead load of roof truss? Above the roof truss, purlin will be there. Above the purlin, sheeting will be there. And also to connect all the rafter, all the purlins sag bars will be there. For that reason, just see here, dead load of purlin we are calculating, weight of roof truss. Weight of roof truss means material point of view. Material is nothing but what? 150 he has given as sheet loading, right? So based on that sheet loading at the slope, then that slope area is 32.28. For that reason 150 into 32.28. Okay, now coming to self weight of the roof truss, again one formula is there. Just now I discussed this formula from the analysis, important points. After that, self weight of bracing, that's it. So coming to total dead load, how to calculate total dead load? First value is purlin dead load, we should know. How to calculate purlin dead load? Dead load of purlin, self weight is 120 Newton per meter square, but this load we should convert into point load. Then if it is uniformly distributed load, then we should multiply it with plan area. So that means what? 120 Newton per meter square. For 30 meter square, plan area is how much? 30 meter. For 30 meter square plan area, what is the dead load of purlin? 120 into 30. Therefore, dead load of purlin is 3600 newtons. Similarly, coming to weight of the roof truss. Weight of the roof truss is nothing but what? Material. That material is nothing but what? Above the purlin, what are the materials are available? Sheetings. He has given 150 Newton per meter square. That is in slope direction. For that reason, 150 into 32.28, that is equal to 4842 newtons. The same way, to calculate self weight of the roof truss, what is the formula? L by 3 plus 5 into 10. Therefore, that is equal to 15 by 3 plus 5 into 10. Finally, we got 100 Newton per meter square. This is 100 Newton per meter square is uniformly distributed load. We should convert into point load. For that reason, our requirement self weight of roof truss is nothing but what? It is acting downward to the direction. That's why I am multiplying with plan area. 100 into 30. Therefore, self weight of roof truss is equal to 3000 newtons. I hope I am clear with these three. Now finally, last point for dead load, self weight of bracings. Very important. Most of the people, they will calculate only these three, because above the trusses, purlins, sheeting will be there, and also self weight of the truss, that is enough. Like that they will think. Not only these three, bracings also available. For that reason, bracing self weight we should consider. For this, I am assuming self weight of bracing between 10 to 15 Newton per meter square. So take self weight of bracing equal to 12 Newton per meter square. Therefore, dead load of bracing equal to 12 into, it is planned area 30, 12 into 30, that is equal 360 newtons. Okay. Now therefore, total dead load is equal to dead load of purlin plus weight of roof truss plus self weight of roof truss plus self weight of bracing. So that means 4842 plus 3600 plus 3000 plus 360, final value is 11802 newtons. This is the total load acting on off slope. See, 11802 newtons load acting only for each panel. How much load acting, we don't know. This calculation for what? Only either left side or right side. So coming to my calculation, I consider as left side of roof, total load is acting 11802 newtons. For each panel point, how much load is acting, how much dead load is acting. That means what? How many panels are there? Total 4 panels for left side, 4 panels for right side. For that reason, dead load is equal to 11802 by 4. Finally, we got 2950.5 newtons. 2950.5 Newton is nothing but what? Each panel point, that is full point. For that reason, full panel point 2950.5 Newtons. End panel point again 0.5. That means what? 2950.5 by 2, that is equal 1475.25 Newtons. That's it. Very simple calculation. This is dead load calculation. You may get this type of question till now, till here. And if he will ask determine dead load as well as imposed load as well as wind load in one question only, there might be chances, but here clearly he is asking only determine dead load. This question especially is asking determine dead load, but if he will ask dead load, live load and also wind load, then don't get panic, because I am explaining those two types of questions also in this question, in this problem only. Now just see here. So till here we finished dead load calculation. Now I want to show pictorial representation like with the figure. So this is the truss. Now coming to truss, this is our truss. On this truss 15 meter span, what is the end panel point? 1475.25 Newtons. Full panel point 2950.5 Newtons. So this is detailed dead load distribution diagram. Detailed dead load distribution diagram. I hope everyone clear about how to calculate dead load, right? Now if is expecting design for these members, then you can design easily. Okay, because consider as compression member, some load is acting, length is available, right? Based on this slope you can calculate length, this value is available, this value is available, usually you can find height. Then based on compression members design procedure, you can find these details. Okay, right. Now coming to live load calculation. How to calculate live load? Very simple, very easy, but we should follow IS 875. Very important. Otherwise you should remember this formula. If you remember this formula and this condition, then your live load calculation is very easy. Now if you want to calculate live load, this is the formula. In your code book, actually this formula will be available 0.75. okay, that is kilonewtons. Here I am taking in terms of newtons only, that's why 750 minus 20 times theta minus 10. This is the formula. This formula is available in your code book IS 875 page number 14, table number 2. And coming to this is 750 minus 20. Theta value is how much? 21.8 for our problem. 10. Finally we got live load value is 514 Newton per meter square. From page number 13, class 4.5.1 from same code book, live load on roof truss in your this IS 875 part 2, IS 875 part 2 live load is there. Part 2 class 4.5.1, this condition will be there. Live load on roof truss equal to 2/3 of live load on purlin. Okay, so 2/3 of live load of purlin means live load on purlin is equal how much? 514. Live load on roof truss is equal to 2/3 of live load on purlin, 514, that is equal to 342.6 Newton per meter square. This is live load on roof truss. Now coming to live load acting on roof truss is okay, but this UDL load we should convert into point load, right? For that reason, live load of roof truss 342.6 Newton per meter square. It should be downward direction, that means plan area we should multiply 342.6 into 30, that is equal to 10280 newtons live load, right? So therefore live load, total live load acting on roof truss is equal to 10280 Newton. 30 means only left side. For that reason, full panel point 10280 by 4, end panel point 10280 by 4 into 0.5, that means 1 by 2. Now finally we got full panel point 2510 newtons, end panel point 1285 newtons. This is about live load calculation. That's it. See, if you want to design these members, you should know dead load, live load, wind load and remaining all etc loads. But if you want to calculate only loads at the panel points, then he may ask determine only dead load, determine only live load, determine only wind load. Because of he is not allowing IS 875 code book for competitive exam and external exam. For that reason, you should remember these points. If you remember these points, you may get marks. Otherwise, you may lose marks. That's why he is expecting this type of questions here. Now coming to third type of question, very important actually. This is very important. Personally, this is very important for civil engineer, because wind load calculations most of the people they will skip. Why? Because instead of going IS 875 part 3 like that, and instead of taking all those values, better if you skip, what will happen, like that they will think. But that is not fair. As a civil engineer, you should go in depth and you should face all the challenges. And now my point is, this is very easy calculation, but if you understand, otherwise it is very difficult. But wind load is very important. See, simply for your curriculums or for your syllabus or whatever, simply he will give dead load value, live load value, wind load value. After giving those values, then finally we will calculate total load is acting on so and so member. Just we are adding all those values. If he has not given all these values, how to calculate, that is important. That is real-time work. So now you will experience with this question. You will experience real-time design work with this problem, because I am explaining dead load, live load, wind load. This is enough actually. Now coming to wind load. Wind load is as per IS 875 part 3. Coming to class 3 and class 5 is important for this calculation. Now how to calculate wind load? If you want to calculate wind load, internal air pressure coefficient for roofs and for the walls of an industrial building is important. For that reason, this is the important table we should remember. Otherwise, you can refer from the code book. Internal air pressure coefficient CPI, this is important actually. Why? Because without knowing this value, highly impossible to calculate VZ. Now permeability, openings in relaxation to wall area in terms of percentage, internal air pressure coefficient CPI. Okay. Now if permeability is 0 or normal or medium or large, how we can decide? We will mention 0, normal, medium, large. Based on this percentage we will mention. Otherwise you can calculate this. If percentage is openings in relaxation to wall area 0% means that is 0, then internal coefficient is plus or minus 0. If it is 5%, then you can call it as normal. Internal air pressure is plus or minus 0.2. Plus or minus is nothing but left or right, or okay, left direction or right direction, like that, left to right or right to left. Next, 5 to 20 means medium, that coefficient is plus or minus 0.5. Large means greater than 20, that value is plus or minus 0.7. Now this is as per IS 875 part 3 appendix 9 and 10. Now coming to as per this appendix 9 and 10, capital F force is equal to external force air pressure coefficient minus internal air pressure coefficient into capital A into PZ. Okay, So instead of remembering all these, if you want to assume, directly you can assume external air pressure coefficient, that is equal minus 0.8 directly, internal air pressure coefficient plus or minus 0.2 normal. In general, if you remember these two values, easily you can calculate wind load. Now how to calculate wind load? Wind load Vz is equal to K1, K2, K3 into Vb. Vb means what? Vb is equal to basic wind speed for Ahmedabad, that is basic wind speed Vb is equal to 39 meter per second. Okay, this is available in page number 50 in your code book IS 875 part 3 appendix A. You can see figure 1. In that figure 1 you can observe basic wind speed 39 meter per second. Now coming to K1. K1 is equal to 0.92. How? K1 is equal to 0.92 based on again code book. For lifespan 25 years, basic wind speed is 39 meter per second, then K1 will be 0.92, and based on terrain height also, K2 is equal to 1.01. For 20 meters height of truss from ground level, K2 value will be selected like this. So these values, if you want to see in your code book from IS 875 page number 12 for category 3 class A building, these are the rules. Coming to K3 value 1 from IS 875 page number 12 class 5.33.1 if theta less than 30 degrees. Just see here, this is the note. If theta greater than 30 degrees, calculation for K3 factor given in appendix C, that is page number 55 and 56. Okay, that is not required because he has given in our question, he has given slope is how much? Slope will be less than 30 degrees. Clearly he has mentioned. Just see here. Sorry for delay. 30 degrees. Sorry, this is not 3 degrees. Topography, plain horizontal ground, wind slope is 30 degrees. If it is 3 degrees, it will be considered as next type of truss. Sorry, this is 30, not 3. Sorry for that. Okay. Now, if it is less than 30 degrees, this K3 is equal to 1. If it is greater than 30 degrees, again this K3 value will be changed. Now coming to Vz, what is the formula for Vz? Vz is equal to K1 into K2 into K3 into Pz. Now K1, K2, K3 into, right. Now just see here, what is the value? 36. This is K1, sorry, this is K1, this is K2, this is K3, right? And K3, right? VB basic wind speed is 39, right? Sorry, wait. K1, K2, K3 and VB basic wind speed. Okay, K1, K2, K3 and VB. VB is equal basic wind speed 39 meter per second. K1 value is 0.92, K2 is 1.01, K3 is 1. Therefore, Vz is equal 36.23. Now coming to Pz. Pz is equal to 0.6 into 36.23 square. That means what? Pz is equal to 0.6 Vz square. That is the formula. Therefore, Pz is equal 787.95 Newton per meter square. Okay. Now I am assuming that external air pressure equal to minus 0.8. Why I am taking this value? Because this in general we can assume, but if you want to go through code book, you can go to code. That is limit 0.5 less than h by w less than 1.5. I have taken minus 0.8. For 10% of wall area, internal coefficient plus or minus 0.5. For that reason, If you want to calculate wind load, what is the formula for wind load? Just now I explained. If you want to calculate wind load, force F is equal to, as per code, appendix 9 and 10, CPE minus CPI into A into PZ. PZ value, just now we have calculated PZ value. PZ value is available. Area value also available. Then PZ value is PZ value is available. Area value is available. External air coefficient and internal air coefficient values are available. For that reason, CPE, that is minus 0.8 plus 0.5. CPI I have taken 0.5, taken minus 0.5. That's why minus and minus plus. Now coming to capital A, 32.28 into, this is PZ value is 787.95. Therefore we got minus 7630.5 newtons. Okay. If you take CPI minus 0.5, you got minus 7630.5 newtons load. That is wind load for internal coefficient. If you take CPI value plus 0.5, again we have to calculate, that is minus 0.8 minus 0.5. Okay, minus into plus minus 0.5, 32.28 into 787.95. Finally we got minus 33065.53 newtons. That means here wind load 33046.65 newtons suction. Okay, right? 33046.65. First value is 7630.5. Okay. Now just see here, coming to each panel point. What is the value? 33046.65 by 4. 82, that is equal 8266.33 newtons. So out of those two, what is the highest value? That highest value I am considering as suction. This minus is only indication for whether it is compressing or not, right? Now coming to each panel point load, you can see here, full panel point, this is the load. This is in terms of Newton. I am considering full panel point 8.26 kilonewtons. End panel point 8.26 by 2, again that is 4.12 kilonewtons. That's it. Okay, this is about wind load calculation. Okay guys, so if you get a question, like determine dead load for given truss, roof truss, then your problem is till here only, till here. What is that? This is a dead load calculation. After that, this diagram is enough. The same way we should draw this type of diagram for design of live load and also wind load. And now the thing is, for once again I am repeating, this problem especially is asking determine dead load. That's it. Determine dead load means we should calculate preliminary calculation for dead load, live load, wind load, whatever. Preliminary calculation is very, very important. That is common. After calculating this, he is expecting dead load calculation. Then you should calculate this. After that, you should draw this figure. Till here, your problem enough. If you want to continue this problem, you can continue. It's not a issue. They will consider. But if he is asking, if he is expecting dead load, live load, wind load, then you should ready to solve such type of problems also. That is my intention. For design of live load also, you can calculate based on this procedure. And if you want to calculate wind load, this is very, very important. You should be careful while calculating. That is important, very, very important. Hope everyone clear with this design of roof trusses. This is very, very important and very, very easy. And okay guys, this is about your 5th unit, design of roof trusses and purlins. I hope everyone very clear about design of purlins as well as trusses. Okay, thank you, bye.